Hello and welcome to part 2 of the RX8 project. So as you can see, weather's a bit rubbish outside, so we're doing it in my teeny tiny garage tonight. Now, I've taken the car for a drive and it does run and drive, but not that well. There's a few issues to go through, but not that much, I hope. Hopefully, it won't cost me that much money and we'll be up and running in not very long at all. So I've got a new whiteboard here and we'll go through what I have found so far on the car. Haven't been underneath it yet, but so far we'll see where we're at. So I'm trying to keep track of everything pretty sort of well. So I'm having a spend section here, and then down here are the issues we need to sort, and we can tick those off as we get them done. So spend so far has been the car, which was 1,250, and I bought a battery for it for 79 quid. And now the to fix sections. So ignore my writing, I can't write for anything. So we have tyres, they're basically square. I think they're from 2011, one of them, so need to sort that out. Wheel nuts, it hasn't got the right wheel nuts for the stock wheels, so that needs sorting out. Locking wheel nuts, that I have sorted out. It had locking wheel nuts. The key went missing in the post when the previous owner sent it to me, which is annoying, but I've got those off and I'll show you those now. Then there's the brakes. So some of the brakes are stuck on, so we need to take those off and give them a bit of an exercise. The clutch slave, I think, needs a bit of a bleed. Feels a bit weak, so I need to sort that out. The ignition is the big one. That it's running rough, and I think it's that. But to make sure, we're going to clean the MAF. Also, AC is not working, and the passenger window and the passenger door lock are also not working, so they need attention. So hopefully I have most of the parts I need. So I paid a visit to Ryan Rotary Performance the other day, who are about 50 minutes away from me now, and picked up a set of their ignition coils with some new spark plugs, not cheap for an RX8, and a set of ignition leads. So hopefully that will sort the ignition issue, but we're going to dig into that at another stage. I have the locking wheel nuts are here now. As you can see, I just had to hammer a socket onto them and they came off. I'm not a big fan of locking wheel nuts, I have to say. They tend to inconvenience the person who actually owns the car instead of the person who wants to steal the wheels. I mean, these did not take long to get off, and I'm not a thief. So yeah, consider putting those on. I'm not a big fan. And to fix the tyres and the incorrect wheel nut issue, I went a little bit overboard and bought a set of wheels off eBay. They were actually pretty good value, cheaper than buying tyres. The stock wheels are a bit scabby, so we got wheels and tyres to fit, which is good. To fix the AC, I have one of these kits, which I've had knocking about from Halfords or something. And they seem to work quite well, so we're going to hopefully give that a go. I had this knocking about in a drawer as well, so we'll put this in, seal it all up, give it some stuff, I don't know what's in that, give it that first, and hopefully that will sort the AC out. So I've got no motivation today, so we're going to start off with something nice and easy, one of the jobs off the board, which is cleaning the MAF sensor. So I'll show you what to do for that. So the MAF sensor is this thing here. So first off, we just need to unplug it. And yeah, another job I need to put on the list is clean this engine bay up, because it's disgusting. So just unplugged it, then we get a Phillips screwdriver, just unscrew these, and then we will pull it out. I'm pretty sure that this is not my issue, but it is something that's worth doing anyway. So just pull this out, Make sure the O-ring is intact. Could be better, but it's intact. Right, now to get the MAF cleaner. Right, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a bit of dirt on this, so it'll probably worth doing. I am using Liquid Moly airflow cleaner. Some people say you can use brake cleaner. You can't. You need an electrical contact cleaner, which I do have on the shelf, but just to be sure, I want to use the proper stuff. Now, how I do it may not be correct, but it's how I do it, and this is actually filthy. If I run my finger on it, they're not cleanest in the world anyway, but getting a bit of dirt off it. So just hit this like so, and just down in there. And then shake it out again and shake it out. Now you just leave this to air dry. It dries really quickly because it's basically sort of almost alcohol, I think. So we'll leave that to dry and we'll go on to the next job. Next, I think I will have a go with the brakes, unseizing those. I want a job I can do bits and pieces. It's getting on already today. It's like nearly 7:20, and I just want to do one job at a time. That's why I'm not putting it on the quick lifts to get it all up in the air at the same time. Just going to do a corner, push out the garage, then come back to it tomorrow. So it's going to be a few day process, I think. So I'm going to do the this brake first, and I'll get the car in the air and I'll show you what I'm doing. Wheels off. The discs actually look in pretty good condition. They're drilled, which I'm not a massive fan of drilled rotors unless it's designed to be. But the pads look to be pretty new, but this one is one of the calipers that is seizing, so I will just undo these two bolts in the back and pull the caliper apart. So got the caliper off. See, this pin is fine. This one is a bit stiff, so that is going to be the culprit. See what pads are like while we're here. Pads all seem all right, don't know, but yeah, you might need, or you will need, a pry bar to get them off, especially when they're this seized. And then after we sort this pin out, we'll check the piston in the caliper. So here's the pin. As you can see, it's all gungy and pretty nasty, so we need to clean this up, clean inside there. I'll probably just spray some brake clean in there. Whether that's the right thing to do or not, I'm not sure, but that's what I will do. So we've cleaned these up. As you can see, bottom one going smoothly, and top one has a bit of movement in it again, so that is good. I gave them a sort of very thin coating of this red rubber grease. Again, not too sure if I'm meant to, but it's what I've done. So next up we'll be seeing if this piston moves freely. So I've got a couple of ways of doing that, so I'll go and get the tools. So this is the tool I will use to push the piston back in, sort of a ratcheting thingy with these two metal plates on the end. You just fit it into there and basically ratchet it open. So I'm going to do that and let you know how it goes. So that worked well. Piston pushed back in nice and easily. I've also loosened the brake fluid cap because it can push more fluid in here and sort of cause pressure in there. So loosen that just in case. So now I'll slacken this off, put my foot on the brake again, and by slackening this off, it just means move it in a bit so this has got something to push against. Put my foot on the brake, push the piston out, and then repeat the process just to make sure that this piston is all okay. So the pistons pop back out, so now we just push it, sorry, a bit shaky, push it back in. This is going in no hassle, but I want to do this a couple of times just to sort of keep everything exercised. I don't know how long this car has been lying there for, so let me just do this another couple of times and then we'll put it all back together. So that's all back together. Now for the fun bit of trying out our new wheels. As you know, the locking wheel nuts aren't going back on this, and that means I'm down 4 wheel nuts. So I got these. These are off my last RX8. I've got a whole drawer full of wheel nuts. So it's going to look a bit funny. Each wheel is going to have a blue nut on it, but it's not costing me anything. So let's do the fun bit of testing out the new wheels. One issue, but I can't do anything about it now, is each one of these tyres is fitted the same direction. So I'll chuck them on now, and then it's something I have to deal with. But yay! So the wheel's on. I've had to put a 5mm slip-on spacer on it. As you can see, the front brake is quite tight, but it's clearing, so that's all that matters. I might look at fitting some bigger spacers onto this. I will see, but now if I put it in the ground and see what it looks like. I think I'm going to have a bit more arch gap here, but the car should sit a little bit lower as well, because these are 17s, stock at 18s. So that is how it sits. I could probably get sort of a 10-15mm spacer, get the wheels sitting flush, but I do quite like the sort of contrasting colours with the black RX8, and the gold goes quite well with the sort of the bodywork colour. So the wheels on, torqued up to 85 foot-pounds. I have fitted the MAF sensor back in there. So I'm going to go and do the other side of the front brake, then I'm going to call it a night for tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow where we do the back. See you in a bit.